Now, I'm not normally a fan of hardwired builds, but last week I was running with a friend who was also using his hardwired build, so I wanted to see how mine compared to his. As you can see here, mine is hitting for 3.7 million damage. So after the mission, of course, we both ended up checking our stats, and basically I was doing about 30% more damage than he did. Pretty much right away he checked my build and then changed his. Alright, so let's get into what I'm actually using on my build. Now I am using an AK with spike, nothing special there. I do have surge, again with perfect spike. This one's actually pretty good, but I don't really end up using it that much. My main workhorse is actually my X45, and I had to roll this one with spike. I have not been able to find a good pistol with spike, so this is the best one that I've been able to craft so far. It's terrible, I know. Alright, and jumping into my actual gear pieces, you can see here, got a hardwired mask, and this is of course rolled in skill damage. If you're going for a damage hardwire build, yeah, you pretty much roll everything in skill damage. Now the mod slot is of course skill haste. There's no real better option. It's not really that great, but in case something happens with my rotation, it can help a little bit, I guess. And then of course I'm using the backpack. Now this one obviously skill damage and skill haste mod, but that feedback circuit basically decreases that cooldown from 20 seconds to 10 seconds, which is probably the most beneficial thing on this build. My chest piece is going to be that wyvern wear for that 10% skill damage, but it's also got glass cannon on it. Now, glass cannon gives me that 25% extra damage, but it does increase the amount of damage that I take by 50%. Again, that's where the shield comes in. My gloves, I am using China Light for that 15% explosive damage, and you can see here, skill damage, skill haste. Nothing really too special there. And then of course you got my holster, hardwired, rolled with damage. Nothing special there. And then my knee pads again, hardwired, rolled with damage. Now the reason that I do more damage with this build is actually for, two simple reasons. One, I'm using glass cannon, so I'm not using the hardwired chest piece itself, which actually does reduce the amount of damage that you do. Second reason, I'm not using the hive. Now, a lot of people use the Reviver Hive or the Restorer Hive, or some people even use the Stinger Hive. Now, the reason that I don't use those is when you actually have to get your skill back, that does take a lot of time having to either destroy your hive or to go find it and pick it up, or just the act itself of having to hide and cover, picking this thing up and putting this thing down, and then making sure you remember where you pick it up, put it down, whatever, that stuff slows you down and slows down the amount of DPS that you do. Plus, when you're doing that stuff, you're not actively shooting the enemy because you're very vulnerable to the enemy. You don't have any defenses against it. You don't want to be taking the brunt of the damage, so you're not shooting that much. The shield is allowing you to do more weapon damage, and it is also allowing you to keep your spike procced a lot more often. So you are just doing more damage because you are able to actually fight the enemy better. Now, regardless of what I say, this is just my take on it. This is how I get the highest amount of damage I can with my Seekers, and that's what I enjoy. But, for you, it might be something completely different. Either way, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.